Hey there, do you have one of these Samsung refrigerators with a top refrigerator with an ice maker that keeps doing this? You want ice, nothing happens. And it happens about once a month for us. And the inherent problem is that this thing just gets jam full of ice. And that's presumably because moisture from the somewhere, probably the refrigerator compartment, finds its way to the cold spot up there and condenses and freezes and jams things up. So it's a real pain in the arse. And many people have complained to Samsung about this. And I would say not to buy a Samsung refrigerator because of it, but well, if you got one, then you got to deal with it. One of the things you can do is put caulking around the whole outside edges, silicone clear caulking, which I've done. It still didn't solve the problem, but I think it might have reduced the frequency of how often this has to happen. But around the entire outside edges, also, you can also make sure that when you put this in, that there's no gap on that it is in there all the way, because there's a little seal in here that needs to seal. The bottom here also doesn't seal. It seals with the rubber gasket right here. So this has to be clean and in good condition so that water doesn't come up into this, water vapor doesn't come into this. Other things you can do is to don't put in here things that can evaporate water, like a puddle of water, like someone has done. Things not to do. All right, so I'm going to kind of walk through a few things that I've done to make this process, to fixing this process a little easier. So you need a few items to do this process. You need a couple kitchen towels, a butter knife or a dull knife, nothing really sharp. Could use even a plastic one, plastic knife. You need a couple. I usually get 2 or 3 of these, but we only have one. Just a yogurt container or a Asian soup container you might get at a takeout restaurant. And then these are my substitutes for not having enough of those. But something about that high. It can't be much taller than that, because you'll see it won't fit if it's much bigger than that. And as much volume of hot water as you can get is the idea. Okay, I'm going to show you how to get it into forced defrost. I'm not sure I can do it with one hand here. I'm going to try it. You push the freezer button and the lighting button at the same time for 8 seconds. Easier with 2 hands, so we'll see if I can do it. 1. It does take longer than you might think. And it should beep. And then you let go, and you push the lighting button until it says FD. There you go. And then it's going to sit there and beep for 30 minutes. You'll have to do this multiple times, because this process does take probably a couple hours to get all that ice melted out. All right, well, next step is to get that water hot, like boiling hot. It usually take about 3 minutes to 5 minutes. Kind of depends on how strong your microwave is, but I'm heating them all up to get them at near boiling temperature. All right, so while that microwave is heating up all that water, I'm going to take this out and set it off to the side. Don't need that for now. And then we're going to put the water in there, and I usually try and put it as deep as we can get. And then after it softens a little bit, then I'll use a knife to see if I can break away some of the ice. Eventually, you're going to have to melt all of that ice off. So to the extent that you can chip ice out or take it out in pieces, that just speeds up the process. Okay, well, I was able to put the cup in first. There was a big piece of ice that's kind of in the way, so I couldn't get the second one in very far. But I got it in that far just by tilting it a little bit and then just getting it in there. The next step after that is to take the towels and make a fold and get them in here like this. I'll get that done, and I'll start the camera again. I can't do it with one hand. Okay, so I just took one kitchen towel, folded it in half twice, and then can get that pretty good seal to get that hot water to give off its thermal inertia basically to vaporize some steam and then help melt out that ice. So after I give it about 10 minutes or so, it might soften up some of the bigger chunks that I can get them to come out of there as pieces. Then the process really is to take out that water periodically, heat it back up with a microwave, and put it back in and seal it back up. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes, so I'm going to take a peek and see if we're making any progress on the ice chunks. And I can see that there is some, so I'm going to take these water things out and see if I can chip out or pull out some of the ice. Okay, so I just took out the one thing of hot water container and pulled on this chunk of ice. So I got some out, and I'll do that with the rest of the pieces. Because once it kind of softens up against the plastic, and then you don't have to chip it. Because you really don't want to use a knife or anything sharp if you don't have to. All right, I took the water out, and then you can see that there's still a lot of ice still in here, but it's melting, so it's coming. So you can see I can push against the sides here and get some of it out. But you don't want to be too aggressive. If it comes out, it comes out. But you see the idea. All right, so I was able to get enough of the ice out that I can get the tallest container all the way to the back. I usually start with 2 or 3 of this size containers, and then once you can get them all the way back, then you can get a fair amount of hot water in here at that point. Okay, I got all 3 hot waters back in there. Time just to seal it back up with the towel and keep the process going. The first 30 minutes hasn't ended yet on the forced defrost. You can hear it still beeping. While I was chipping out the ice, pulling out pieces, I put the water back in the microwave to get it reheated and near boiling hot. Okay, well, we're partway into the second 30-minute cycle. I'll take a peek and see how we're doing, and probably heat up the water again. So it looks like we're making progress. You can kind of see that a lot of the ice has been gone. Okay, I think the second 30-minute cycle has finished, and I was out doing yard work, so I don't know exactly how long ago it ended, but I just checked it, took out the hot water, put it in the microwave to reheat. It looks like it's pretty well defrosted. There was a small piece of ice right in here that I just pushed back with a knife, but I don't feel any other ice back in that pocket. But then I'm trying to get that, make sure there's no visible ice in there. And I dried it out. It looks like it's pretty much done, but I'm going to put the hot water back in again and restart one 30-minute cycle just to make sure that we got all the ice out of the inside of there and we're good to go. Okay, well, we're done with the most recent forced defrost, and we'll take out all the water and see how we're doing, and we'll just put it back together again. All right, I took out all the water. I looked at it with a flashlight inside, didn't see any ice any longer. It looked all clear. Dried it out with a towel, get rid of any water, and then you just have to turn the ice maker back on again. Oops, got to hold it for 3 seconds. And then we're back on again. It might be worth doing a power freeze to kind of get it cold again. Hold that for 3 seconds. If your refrigerator has that option. And then we should be making ice again.